Hi, this is Max Imbron for PCC.com. Today we're going to open the airport security bag. Now, one of my rules when I travel is I try to avoid checking in anything as much as possible. I really hate it. I'm always scared that it's going to end up in Zimbabwe or something, and I just don't like to do it because then I got to wait in an airport, and I got to wait in an airport on the way back. It's just never a good deal for me. So I like to pack as much as possible into the one carry-on bag and the one personal item. In order to do that, I usually carry an airport security bag, which is my super bag full of everything, and I stuff as much of my camera equipment into it as possible. Then, instead of carrying like a clothes bag or a duffel or something like that, I usually carry another camera bag. Now, initially, this thing is empty, but when I first start packing, I usually carry clothes and stuff in there. I'll usually carry some odds and ends like this 300 and maybe some laptop accessories in the laptop in here too. But the reason I like having an extra camera backpack is because I'm not going to roll with the airport security to X Games or to any event when I travel. I might just take the backpack, but if you didn't take the backpack, how do you have one wherever you are? So rather than take a clothes bag, I take the CompuTrekker. All right, so let's get to it. We're going to open the airport security bag, and like I said, you may be scared of what you see inside, but it's my philosophy to carry as much as possible in one carry-on bag. It may look a little cramped in there, and that's fine because honestly, I'd rather know that I packed it a little tight than have to deal with someone at the airport tossing my bag into oblivion, or having an extra bag end up in Nigeria or some other country. Nothing against the Nigerians, but I don't really unless I'm going there for some sort of World Cup soccer or something, I don't want my bag being somewhere else. So let's open the airport security bag. Now, I don't really keep a lot in the flap here. I don't really like using these things. I'll keep like really small odds and ends, so I'm not even going to worry about that. This is the picture I saw. This is the picture I sent a couple of days ago, and it's pretty cluttered on top, but there's stuff underneath, so we're going to go through all of it piece by piece. Here we have the Mark III charger. You need that and the cord for it. Now, if I was traveling and I knew some other photographers and they had a Mark III charger, I might be able to, borrow theirs, in which case I could save the space by not taking it. But usually I don't like trusting that, so, I have a lens hood randomly here, and just to save space, I put in the 10D, 20D, 30D, 5D, whatever D charger with it, because it all kind of fits into one little box. My usual roll of gaffer tape, never leave home without it. Spare Mark III battery. See, you kind of fit this thing into these little nooks and crannies. And even there, underneath there, I got spare PC to hot shoe cords in case I got any one of these 3 pocket wizards that I might throw in on-camera, off-camera flash action. I've got remote trigger cables. I've got another remote trigger cable. I always like to carry more than I need. I'm only going to do one remote or one off-camera flash at any one time, so I only really need 2 pocket wizards and 1 remote cable. But what if something breaks? Now I'm in the middle of nowhere, or who knows where. I mean, it's LA. I'm here for X Games. But what if I was in Kansas? I'm not going to be able to go get an extra cable or an extra pocket wizard in the middle of nowhere like next day. So I always carry 1 extra. Spare 10D for me. This is for the 5Ds and 40Ds. They kind of fit right there, so I just put them there. It's all about spatial relations. Always find those little nooks and crannies that can fit extra things. See, like right here on top of the camera, there's that little space. So this is the knob for a magic arm. I usually take my magic arms apart. They're really awkwardly shaped. So when they're so awkwardly shaped, you can't just put them in a box, because if you do, it'll take up a lot of space, but it actually won't use all that space. So I take it apart, and the safety, let's see. So here's the rest of the magic arm. I just pull it out of this little side pocket. Usually you can have little knickknacks in there, and I would, but I usually like keeping them all in there. So I use the side pocket of the airport security for the rest of the magic arm. I'll assemble this as I need it. In all these other spaces, like I said, I always keep other things. Here's a cable for a Quantum. This is for my battery pack, which I'll show you in a minute. Here's the super clamp. That's all going to go with the magic arm there. Here's a couple of spare camera straps. Now, you can usually put this in the spare flap up here or something like that, but it tends to stick out, and when these things stick out, it gets harder to put into the overhead of an airplane. So I like keeping it all in one neat little package, and when you zipped it up, it looks like just a normal bag. It just happens to weigh like 8 million pounds. So, and then again, in little spaces, here's my charger for my Quantum, so when I charge up my battery pack, I'm going to have that. I got a card reader here. Okay. Got my megapixel pocket rocket full of CF cards. Just take as many as you need to, which for me is pretty much everything. Here's an angle finder. I like the angle finders because when I'm setting up remotes, sometimes, you know, if you put a remote on the floor, you really aren't going to be able to see very easily. And so the angle finder really helps you with that. If you have live view, that works too, but the problem is the screen is still not, it doesn't move. So if it's angled down, how are you going to see it? I mean, it's good for basic reference, but sometimes you just need the angle finder. So I always take that with me. I got a little 4 battery pack thing here with a battery tester. I just like keeping that so I know exactly how much juice I have in the batteries. Let's see what else we got in here. Here's my Quantum Turbo SC. I already showed you the cable and the charger for it. This connects to a flash, so it gets the super fast recycle times. Finally, a lens, the 85-18. It's a good all-around lens. If we don't have enough light indoors, which we probably won't, I will usually take that with me. It's a good lens, decent zoom, nothing too special. Fisheye, you gotta have a fisheye. It's always one of those fun lenses. I might use this like 3 times in my at X Games, but it's always good to have because it'll give you something a little bit different. Here, the 24-70, this is one of the standards. You know, if you're gonna carry only 1 or 2 or 3 lenses, it's usually gonna be the 24-70, 70-200, and then either the 300 or 400, depending on what you're doing. So, 24-70 right there. And as you can see, we're now starting to fill out some of the holes here, but in general, there's so much space everywhere that you can fit so many things in here. Here's our 70-200. Okay? You got to take that 70-200 and put that way. I don't want it to fall like in the last video. So, and here's a lens pen. I had snuck it in there in that little crevice between the 70-200 and the rest of the padding. So lens pen is really useful in case you get dirt, dust, blood, God knows what other fluids or grains on your lens. So it's always good to have a lens pen. Let's see, another camera strap. It's always good to have extra camera straps. You never know when you're going to need them. And I think we're getting to the meat of the subject, is more lenses and cameras. Here's a 580EX2. I'm going to use that. It's already got batteries inside. Oh, let me get that open. It's already got batteries inside, you know, because why carry more batteries that I did in the pack and stuff. And this is the connection for the Quantum. So I set this up, put this on the camera, set it up with the Quantum. And when I do that, now I have the super fast recycle times, which you're going to need when you're doing certain extreme sports events. You know, a lot of guys use that stuff. So, yeah, I thought I'd have one handy just in case I'm going to do that. It all depends on how much light there is. So better to have it than not. 16-35. I think one of the first things I showed you was that lens hood for it. This is a really awkward lens hood, which is why, like I said, I put it in with the 5D charger right there. See, so it's instead of taking up all that space and doing nothing, it's got something in there. But here's the 16-35 that matches for it. With something like X Games, you know, there's sometimes it's not about just tight shots. It's going to be wide shots of everything. So the 16-35 goes really well with the 24-70 and 70-200. To get the super wide shots, I take a 5D. Oh, no, wait, this is the 40D. Here's the 40D. This down here, that's the 5D. And this will give me a little bit of a difference because the 40D gives you that longer reach. It's the 10 megapixel, 1.6 crop factor. This is going to be good for remotes, you know. But then over here we got the 5D. It's a slower camera. It's really meant for more portraiture and whatnot. But when you need that 16-35 to really be a 16-35, or if you want to put the fisheye on it and really have it be a 180-degree fish eye, then the only way you can do that is to use a full frame camera, and that's going to be the 5D right here. So I bring that for a little bit of variety. We got the Mark III right here. See? Good old Mark III, Canon's 10 megapixel beast. So I got one of those right there. And I got the number 2 one right here. And actually, I don't know if you saw any of my other posts, but it's a little beat up. I don't know if an animal chewed on it or if it's dead, but Canon told me they've never seen this before. A button fell out. That's kind of cool. It's always nice to see that I've done things that Canon has never seen before. You know. And the 400-2.8. Since it's X Games, you're going to be going to all sorts of areas within the